Okay, same error came up. We're live. I am just setting up the stream on Instagram, and today we are going to be talking about ways to maximize your magnesium. And this question comes in from Stacy. She had a great question that we'll go into a little bit later. While I'm waiting for the two lives to connect and make sure that we're streaming, every morning on social media, a question is posted on my feed, and there's so much to take away from the answers on the question. So this morning it was, what's your favorite breakfast? And so many times I think it's easy to say this perfect breakfast you're eating in this one moment of time. And Pat left the best comment this morning and said Cheerios. And it brought back this flood of memories. When I was a little girl, my mom made everything. We were an ingredient only kitchen. And on this random times, I can remember it on so few times she got Cheerios. I can remember putting a whole teaspoon of sugar on those Cheerios and then digging the spoon on the bottom. Does anybody else remember that? I think now they're pre-sweetened, but it just brought back this flood of memories. So thank you, Pat, for leaving that comment. Stacy's question today prompted the theme of this live, and it is maximizing your magnesium soak time through small tips. And her question was, can I soak more than once during the day? And is that more effective? Let's go back to my filter and how I'm going to be answering this question through that filter. My goal is always minimum input for maximum output. Always my goal on everything that I do, on my exercise, on my supplements, on my food, on my magnesium. I want the minimum. I do not want to be that person who is focused full-time on creating or maintaining health. I'm creating and maintaining health to be out there doing the things that I love, not to have a full-time job of creating and maintaining health. That is a foundational principle for living the good life naturally, is minimum input for maximum output. Stacy asked this question, and I've done a lot of testing throughout the years to determine, is this something that if somebody is really sick or really needing magnesium, that they could soak twice a day and get double the benefits? And the answer is no. You do not get double the benefits from soaking more than once every 24 hours. Here's how we tested that. When I do magnesium parties and work with groups of women who were focused on achieving magnesium cell saturation by 6.3 milligrams on their magnesium red blood cell test, we would start playing with the variables in how they soaked. And so we had a large group of women, over 300, and asked them to soak more than once a day. And then we tested their blood. We tested their symptoms, like did they feel better? And when we did that blood work, it did not get you to cell saturation faster. And so my answer to customers is absolutely not. It's a waste of time, energy, and money to soak more than once every 24 hours because it doesn't get you there faster. Your body needs time to absorb and utilize the magnesium that you're soaking in. Let's put a gray area into that. That's a pretty black and white answer. And I will continue to answer that because I don't want anyone thinking, oh my goodness, I need to soak twice a day to get to the point of achieving cell saturation. My husband deals with chronic pain, and there are times, many times, that he will utilize the magnesium soak in the bathtub more than once a day. It's not because it's more effective. It's that he's getting in that bathtub, and it's almost, I think, just a habit for him to put the magnesium in. Is it harmful or detrimental? No, unless, and remember, as I share this with you, I'm not a doctor, not diagnosing, not prescribing, not telling you what to do. You and I are just having a conversation on things that will increase your chances of achieving cell saturation by soaking in magnesium soak from Living the Good Life Naturally. It's not detrimental unless your potassium is low. Magnesium shines the light on what your body needs. And my ultimate goal is creating strong voltage. Voltage is needed for every cell for optimal health, regeneration, and healing. We need magnesium, salt, and potassium. If you go in and add magnesium, but you haven't been getting enough potassium from your diet, your body, magnesium is the master mineral, and your body will drop potassium to pick up the magnesium. Very oversimplified way to explain that, but I'm hoping that gives you a good visual. Think of your body running over, just emptying all its buckets of potassium to pick up this life-changing magnesium soak. And when that happens, if you're already low on potassium, you're going to feel exhausted soaking. Your muscles aren't going to be just relaxed. It's going to be hard to move them because you're going to feel like your energy just got zapped. You might even have an increase of leg cramps, which seems counterintuitive because the very reason so many people soak is because they want to get rid of leg cramps, and magnesium is the relaxing mineral. Why are my leg cramps getting worse? Not always, but usually one of the layers that can be is you don't have enough potassium. Well, let's then go to potassium. How much potassium do you need compared to what I need? My husband and I both need potassium, but because of our circumstances with where we're at, one of us can take a lot of potassium and the other one cannot. I can get in full food form of potassium. I can take a little bit of synthetic potassium before getting stomach upset. Potassium levels depend on your kidney function, on your heart function, and what is best for you. When people get that drop and they don't feel good or their cramping increases, my number one recommendation is drinking coconut water. And my very favorite over the years, and it still is my very favorite, is Harmless Harvest. Drinking that Harmless Harvest coconut water is a very quick and efficient way to bring your potassium levels up. The next question I'll get is, Kristen, should I have my potassium tested before I start soaking in magnesium? And absolutely, if you want to, go ahead. Here is why I would not. When they're taking your blood, did you know how they take your blood, how tight the tourniquet, angle that they go in? There are so many variables that will change your potassium levels on blood work. I think sometimes we can come in and our expectation is that blood work is perfect. For example, magnesium red blood cell does not test the magnesium in your bones. It gets the 40% that's free floating in other areas of your body, but it doesn't get the picture of where your magnesium bone levels are. It's not the perfect magnesium test, just like magnesium serum is not the perfect test. Your body will pull from everywhere to keep your magnesium serum levels at 1% so that you're alive. You need magnesium to stay alive. I personally wouldn't because of the variables, but is what I would do is I would make sure I understood if I had potassium contradictions. For example, if I had kidney issues and my doctor had shared with me to be careful with my potassium, if I had a heart issue and I needed to make sure of my potassium, or there's multiple other medications that determine how much potassium that you can take in. So understanding how much potassium that your body needs becomes incredibly important before you start flooding your body with potassium. Most people, as a general rule, can drink some coconut water. Another great one is celery juice. The reason I don't talk about celery juice as much on social media is then so many people will hop on and say, I don't have a juicer, it's so expensive, and start giving all of these reasons. There are more ways to get potassium in your body. I'm sharing on social media the quickest, the most efficient, and the most accessible way to get more potassium in your body. And if you've been soaking for a while and you are feeling more tired than when you started, it's almost 99.99999% a potassium issue. The goal is optimal voltage, where your magnesium, salt, and potassium are working together to get energy to that cell, to maximize the benefit of that cell. When Stacy asked the question, can I soak more than once? Absolutely, you can. Be aware if you do have that potassium issue that it will make you more tired until you bring your potassium into balance for what is best for your body. It doesn't get you to cell saturation faster. My husband and I had a really good conversation about this because I said to him, have you gotten in the bathtub a second time during the day to bring that suspension to your body and not use magnesium and just utilize that there's pressure off of his body? He's floating, the tub is warm, it's very relaxing. He feels like that second dose is a benefit to him. Statistically, though, I can't get that to show up in any of the lab work of people who have soaked more than once a day versus people who haven't soaked more than once a day. It doesn't change how fast you get to cell saturation. I'm not going to go to my husband and say, husband, Morga, I do not want you soaking in that magnesium. It doesn't benefit you. If he's saying, but I do feel better sometimes with that second soak, at that point, you have to make the best decision for you. At this point, I wouldn't do it because the time, energy, and money that goes into me soaking in magnesium. If you're experiencing a benefit like my husband does, then go for it. Make it work for you. Okay, we have a few questions. The magnesium moment on Monday is completely focused on that beginning mindset and understanding how to utilize the magnesium soak. For example, we soak 20 to 45 minutes. Why? Because on thermal testing, the majority of people in 20 minutes utilized 80% of the magnesium they were soaking in, whether that was just their feet or in a bathtub. And in 45 minutes, they had utilized about 98%. And so I want the benefits from the magnesium. 20 minutes in is the minimal that I will soak. And at 45 minutes, I've gotten the maximum. There are sometimes I soak longer. I'm watching a movie, I'm reading a book and just get lost in the book and I'm soaking longer. You won't get more benefit from soaking longer. And that sweet spot of time is between 20 minutes and 45 minutes. An eighth of a cup for children, a quarter of a cup for adults. Now, my baby girl will always be my baby girl. And she said, Mom, I have my master's degree and I have my dream job at the university and I'm 6 feet tall. When am I not going to be your baby girl? And I said, you will always be my baby girl. But obviously that 6 foot tall child next to me that is technically an adult that's thriving, she needs a full dose of magnesium, even though I still call her my baby girl. You'll need to look at your child. Maybe you have an 11-year-old that is 5'4". That child needs to have an adult dose of magnesium. We're in the process right now of selling our home in California, and we had 2 kids that came and helped us. They were amazing. Could not have done it without them. They were amazing workers. And one of them was 6'7". 6'7", and I believe he's just barely 16. He needs an adult dose, even though he's your child. And so is what I like to do is take the height of the child to your waist. And this is an approximate. If they are height-wise below your waist, you can probably do 1/8 of a cup. If they are height-wise above your waist when you're standing side by side, probably leaning at that point toward 1/4 of a cup. Start with 1/8 of a cup low and see if they get benefits from that though. And then that way you're getting full benefits from a child's dose. And in one bottle, let me grab it over here. One bottle of magnesium soak for a child has 32 doses. For an adult, has 16 doses. If you're doing the magnesium 30-day challenge, you are an adult, you will need 2 magnesium soak bottles. And let's go, Mindy. This is a great question. Would it be a good idea to drink unsweetened coconut water when doing magnesium soaks? I've been more tired. Absolutely. If you are experiencing being tired, absolutely see if adding potassium. Now, some people, for example, those, and I think this is where we get confused on creating health, because we'll see something and we'll try it and then say, oh, that didn't work. Someone who has irritable bowel syndrome or SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, coconut water is not a good fit for them. And they might be thinking, oh my gosh, that was horrific. That was awful. Well, your body's in a place that that's not a good choice for you. And so going to avocados, white beans are some of my favorite sources of magnesium and help of potassium, let me pull that back, of potassium and help keep my body at strong potassium levels. Coconut water will not be the best fit for everyone. I've noticed a strong pattern, especially those that have had a diagnosis of IBS and have a hard time in their gut, or those who have SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and it flares their SIBO. Make it work for you. For most people, coconut water is a great option. If you are experiencing tiredness and you've tried coconut water before, that would be my go-to because it's fast, easy, accessible, and changes your potassium levels quickly. Another question that Lorene had is, I've heard you talk about cream of tartar. Absolutely. Remember though, it is a synthetic dose of potassium. And why are we soaking in magnesium soak? Because we recognize synthetic isolated nutrition always has downsides, always. That pill of magnesium has a downside in your body, just like we know when we take vitamin C from ascorbic acid, it changes the way your body stores iron. If you have an iron issue and you're not holding iron or you're holding too much iron, look at the ascorbic acid that you're utilizing, because ascorbic acid changes that. Yes, it has vitamin C, but there's a downside to that. Magnesium, synthetic and isolated, pulverized, heated, and in a pill has a downside. And that is it weakens your peristaltic action in your gut. So your gut mobility becomes focused on needing to have that magnesium. And if you're not working that muscle, you're losing that muscle. number one reason why I'm not a fan of synthetic isolated nutrition. In fact, Pat this morning, when she left the comment that her breakfast was Cheerios, I think it's really easy to look at the Cheerios and know we can't get optimal health from that. But then we walk over to the health food store, we pay for the same synthetic nutrition and think, okay, all my needs are covered. Synthetic, isolated, pulverized, heated nutrition does not work. Cream of tartar is synthetic potassium. I can do about 1,000 milligrams. 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar is about 500 milligrams of potassium. And if I'm really running short or just feel like, oh, I haven't met the goals today with my potassium levels, I will add some to some fresh orange juice. And in that half a cup of fresh orange juice, 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar, I've got almost 1,000 milligrams of potassium very quickly and very easily, but not if it's causing stomach upset. And everyone will have a tolerance, different tolerance of how much synthetic potassium that they can take. Some people can't take any. Again, celiacs, IBS, Crohn's, SIBO, people that have gut issues that they're still focused on healing that gut will have a harder time with synthetic potassium. You might do well with it. I know some people who can get 2,000 milligrams a day from their potassium. If I did that, my stomach would relieve itself very quickly once I hit over 1,000 milligrams. And I don't do that every day. I'm using that a lot of times when I'm on a trip or I'm coming back, that transition from trip to back to real life schedule. I usually have up to a 5-day period where I'm just getting everything put away and resetting everything up. And that's when I'll kick in and use that synthetic form of potassium. It is a quick way to build my potassium levels up. And remember, please remember, if there are thyroid issues, remember, I'm not a doctor, not diagnosing or telling you what to do. If there are thyroid issues, it started with your adrenals. Think of adrenals and thyroid as two horses that pull a carriage. And if one goes down, the other one's going to try to pull the weight for both. If your adrenals go down, your thyroid is going to attempt to pull the function of both of those, making your adrenals eventually, or making your thyroid eventually shot, because it's doing something it wasn't meant or intended to do, but it needs to because of your adrenals. The very first thing to look at on adrenals is, do they have the nutrients that your body needs? That's why we focus on magnesium, salt, potassium as voltage. Your adrenals run on sodium and potassium. Salt and potassium is what fuels. Once we start supporting those adrenals and we allow thyroid to only be in charge of thyroid, it's much easier to heal the thyroid. I call that standing in your zone of genius. For example, I can go in and do shipping. Takes me a very long time, and I make more mistakes than team does. That is not my zone of genius within the company. Putting your body in a place where each organ is functioning where and how it is supposed to function makes healing more efficient. The gateway to your thyroid is through your adrenals, and adrenals are maximized by creating voltage. This is where living the good life naturally focuses. Build a strong foundation. Don't chase symptoms. In building that strong foundation, soak in magnesium, optimize your potassium, balance your salt, and create voltage at the cellular level. When you've got adrenals functioning, thyroid and hormones are a completely different experience to optimize than if your adrenals don't have just the basic nutritional needs met of what they need as fuel. Lorene, another thing you might be referencing on time is ideally in a perfect world, imperfect action still creates optimal health. In a perfect world, you would be uptaking salt, potassium at 10 and 2. That's when your adrenals, our body runs on the circadian rhythm, and that's when adrenals go in and scoop up the nutrients that they need. You can take them anytime, though, for benefit. If you're very focused on getting your adrenals what they need, you can make sure at 10 and 2 o'clock that you've got something to eat or drink that has strong amounts of potassium and salt that are appropriate for your body. Okay, I had to travel last week, so I brought some of your lotion so I wouldn't lose what benefits. That's a great call, and I love the flexibility, Lorraine, that I see in that statement that you made. She had been soaking, traveled, didn't stress out that she couldn't soak. She just made a decision of what product was she going to put in place while she was traveling. Let me grab over here. She opted to go for the magnesium lotion, and you can also use magnesium spray. I would opt to go for the spray on the bottom of my feet because the lotion does not have as much magnesium to get into your body as the spray does. And when we're talking the amount of magnesium in soap versus spray, it's day and night difference. It's a great way to focus on taking a break or traveling in maintaining cell saturation is using a secondary product. And Lorraine showed incredible flexibility, and that's what makes the difference between a healthy woman and a woman who is sick and stuck. Healthy women are flexible. It's not going to be perfect every day. I am living proof that imperfect action creates optimal health. I've gotten from the wheelchair and the seizures to where I'm at now, and none of that has happened on a perfectly straight linear journey with me never deviating. That just hasn't been my experience at all, and I don't see it being the experience of anyone that I've interacted with over the last 20 years. Is what women experience is creating the filter and the foundational belief that healthy women are flexible. Healthy women do not expect perfect action of themselves all of the time. When you walk away from this, if understanding salt and potassium and you learned a little bit more of that, we know you're not going to hit that every day for the rest of your life. A lot of times sick people have that expectation. I know I did. I thought I had to do it perfectly, had to have everything in place. The more we learn on social media, the more we can beat ourselves up and create a larger gap in our knowledge and versus our action. Healthy women are flexible. Imperfect action steps create optimal health. Repeat that over and over and over to have that become a part of your belief system. Okay. Oh, Carrie, this is a great question. Many of you will notice that Shelly's not here with us today. We woke up team this morning to fires happening all over the place. And with our website being told it could shut down within 20, anyway, there was lots of things happening. And so Shelly is focused with the rest of the team on making sure that Magnesium soak is still optimized and online and available for purchase. And so Shelly's not here today. I will go in after. You can't, let's do this because I need to go right from this to figuring out what's happening with my Shopify website and why they're saying it's going to be shut down. If you will go on Instagram, you can go to my profile, and on that profile is my Amazon storefront, and that link will be there. And then that way you can optimize and find that and see that one that I recommend that I like. Okay, Joanne had a great question. My name is Joanne. How do I know I'm in too much hypervigilance to do the 30-day soak? What's the fine line? I do have periods of calm. My answer to this needs to be filtered through what is best for you. If I was concerned that my stress levels had been really high, if I knew my potassium levels were not between 4,000 and 5,400 every day, is what I would do is I would start adding some potassium, beans, avocados, greens. I would make sure I was getting some potassium in, not even worry about tracking it or knowing how much. I would just increase it. And then I would start soaking in magnesium. And if I did have a concern, because you know you're in that hypervigilance mode, start with less. Instead of doing the quarter cup, do an eighth of a cup. Do a tablespoon. Check to see how it's working with your body. When you get that feedback, though, remember, magnesium shines the light on what your body needs. It's telling you the next step. It's telling you we're lacking this when you get that feedback and your body reacts in different ways to the magnesium. Joanne, hoping that that helped. Okay. Oh, Elizabeth, I just scanned your question, and this is a great question. She's been soaking for a long time, and her ankle's been hurting her. And she went ahead and took the lotion and applied the lotion right on her ankle and got benefit. There, I always will use what I call spot treatment topical magnesium usage. My shoulders get tight doing this at the computer. And it sounds like today I'm going to be doing this a lot while I figure out why TikTok banned one of our products and why Shopify is claiming that our website's coming down. I'll be doing a lot of this, and there will probably be some stress. I will go with the muscle cream. Oops, there we go. Muscle cream to do my spot treatment. That's what I like. There is nothing wrong with spot treatment. And yes, it is beneficial. My knees, I always spot treat my knees with muscle cream morning and night, even though I soak in magnesium for cell saturation. Spot treatment helps. And spot treatment and soaking, in my opinion, need to go hand in hand to create optimized benefits from magnesium. Joanne, I'm not sure what that summary is. The beautiful thing about Facebook is these are recorded and you're able to go back and watch the recording. We're at the end of our time together. It goes by so quickly. I wanted to share with you. I'm so excited about, can you see this? Let's see. Oh, let me put it right there. Can you see that? These samples are starting to go out in boxes. For those of you who have been on the journey with me for a long time, you might remember our cocoa and cream. Well, it's back and it's better, baby, because now it's magnesium boosted cocoa and cream. When I say it smells like chocolate, it's an understatement. It's not a synthetic chocolate. It is a cocoa absolute that actually boosts your endorphin levels when you smell it. You actually get a boost in your endorphins by smelling this. I'm really excited. Team has worked really hard. My daughters worked really hard to set Team up so they can get samples filled, and we're just waiting for the labels to show up so they can go on the jars. It will be in the same jar as the muscle cream. It will have a blue lid that's that Living the Good Life Naturally blue versus the black one, and that will be available soon. Very excited. Where do you find that? Samples go out in when you purchase an order. Sometimes we run out of samples and they don't go out. So it's not a promise every single order will get a sample. That sample cost for me, not the ingredients, the packaging, the time to put it in, and the employee hours is about $4. I don't give away samples. I do share them in when you purchase. And right now, it's the only way to get this is when you create a purchase. And you might not get this one. It might be a muscle cream. They're put in randomly, determined by how much we have of each one. This is starting to go out though, and I would love to know if it landed in your magnesium order, and tell me what you think. I love this product. Okay, delightful being with you today. My goal was you learned a few things about maximizing your magnesium while you're soaking. Minimum input, maximum output. That way, we're not spending all day creating help. We're spending all day living a big life connected with people that we love. I'm convinced that you are needed to stand up in a bigger way, to show up in a bigger way with your gifts, your strengths, your perception. And if you don't feel good, that's never going to happen. We need more women feeling good and out there making a difference through their passions. My passion, magnesium. And my goal is that it makes a difference in your life. That's why I show up every Monday and Wednesday on social media live to share with you tips and things that I've learned over the 20 plus years of being a magnesium advocate. Share in the comments, what was your takeaway? What was that piece of information? Because we've now spent 36 minutes together. What was that piece of information that you connected with, that you can take action on, and that will help move you forward more efficiently? Just sitting back and learning, listening, keeps you in fight or flight. Healing doesn't happen there. Healing happens when we take action. Healthy women take action. Let me know in the comments below what your action will be from our time together today. And I will see you this upcoming Wednesday to dive a little bit deeper on my favorite topic of magnesium soak. Transdermal magnesium from living the good life naturally. Have the best day. And I am off to go find out what in the heck is happening all over with all these little fires that showed up this morning. I have an opportunity with my team to solve some problems, and knowing them, they already have some of them solved. Have the best day, and I hope you get a little bit of sunshine, a little bit of walking, and a little bit of magnesium into your life today, because that's what creates the magnesium morning trifecta. Bye-bye.